Hey guys, so this week we're going to be taking a look at toiletry kits, or as some people like to call them, Dopp kits. And the item we're going to be taking a look at is the Dash Dopp Kit from Bond Travel Gear. If you've watched a lot of my other videos, you know that I'm a huge fan of modular packing, and the Dopp Kit really helps with that modularity as far as, keeping all your toiletries and smaller accessories organized into one area that makes it easier to just pack and also to move from bags to bags. So I really love using Dopp kits, and in particular I really liked Aer's Dopp Kit for its style, the size, and a lot of the compartments that it offered. And I hadn't really found anything that compared until I came across the Dash Dopp Kit from Bond. And so this is a little bit of a newer company. I see on their website that they sell currently just two items. They have the Dopp Kit and another accessory organizer, which I'm interested to check out as well, so look out for that in a future video. I really liked what I had seen on the company's website and a lot of the promotional materials that they had put out, and I just really liked the overall look and features that this bag had to offer. So I just went ahead and ordered one and figured it would be nice to kind of see how well it fit into my travel gear and just kind of how the way that I typically pack, and also just kind of take a look at how it compares with the Aer Dopp Kit, which is the one that I've used most commonly for about the past year or so. I was super impressed with the Dash Dopp Kit. It had a lot of things that I really liked, and I'm really excited to share it with you guys. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at the Dash Dopp Kit from Bond Travel Gear. So starting out with the overall aesthetic of the bag, I personally really like the look that the company has chosen to go with here. To me, it has kind of almost a little bit of a tactical look. It's just, all black. It has these kind of really cool orange paracord zipper pulls. It includes this little orange carabiner to help with hanging the bag up, which we'll go into a little bit later. As you can see, the bag has some nice long handles to make it easy to carry. The bag itself is made out of a really durable feeling ballistic nylon, which is apparently water resistant and abrasion proof. As far as branding, it just has kind of this one logo here on the front, so pretty minimal. And the styling itself overall, the bag is pretty minimal. As you can see, there's nothing really on the back. On the front, there's just kind of the one zipper compartment, and then, the main compartment just kind of lies flat. So we'll take a closer look at that in a second. But as far as the look itself, I really like just how simple it is. To me, this Dopp Kit is also very compact, considering the amount of stuff I was able to fit into it. And so, one thing that's really kind of important to me when picking out a toiletry kit like this is kind of just how thick it's going to get. I really like toiletry kits that don't bulk out too much. I've seen some really big toiletry kits being sold, and I don't know who could travel with those unless you're traveling with like a really huge suitcase, or why you would need that much space. So it's really important for this type of item for me that it's slim, especially when I'm doing one bag travel. Space is always a premium, and so it's really important to me that anything that I put into the bag is going to be able to kind of not be too thick and able to pack down really flatly. And so I really like that about this Dopp Kit. In the intro, I mentioned that the Dopp Kit that I most typically travel with is the Aer Dopp Kit, which is right here. And so far, I've had a great experience traveling with this. It's been a really great quality. I actually did an in-depth review for that a while back, so I'll make sure to link to that in the description below. So I won't go too into detail on the Aer Dopp Kit in this video. Mostly, I just kind of wanted to do a bit of a size comparison. So as you can see, the Bond Dopp Kit at the moment is pretty much filled up with everything that I would need for a trip, and it's actually got even more than I would normally pack, just to see how much stuff I could actually fit into it and to see just how thick it would get. So even while the Bond Dopp Kit is actually full and the Aer Dopp Kit is a little bit emptier, you can see that the Dash Dopp Kit from Bond is actually a little bit slimmer. And so, as I was just saying, that's really important to me, and that's something that stood out to me a lot, is that it is able to pack down a little bit slimmer. When I typically fill up the Dopp Kit from Aer, it gets a little bit thicker than what I would normally want for a Dopp Kit, especially for when I'm really tight on space and I'm traveling with something like the Aer Travel Pack or the GoRuck GR2. I think that I would ultimately prefer the Bond Travel Kit just a little bit more as far as the space. And so if you want to check out the video that I did for the Aer Dopp Kit, you can see that it actually does have a lot more organization. It has tons of different compartments and pockets, and within those compartments and pockets there's all sorts of dividers and organizers and just a lot of like really unique compartments. So the Bond Travel Kit is a little bit more limited in how much organization it offers, but it offers plenty. So they both are just really effective Dopp kits with kind of a different mentality on how they want to organize everything. So it really just depends on your preference and how much space you have when you're packing. But as far as the size and the aesthetic, I really, really like what Bond has been able to do with this Dopp kit.
And so just starting out with the outside of the bag, as I mentioned, it's pretty minimal. The bag itself doesn't have that much organization on the outside. It just has kind of this one kind of quick access pocket on the outside for maybe some smaller accessories. So in here what I would typically put is just something small, kind of like a contacts case, or maybe, you know, if I have some medicine that I'm carrying, just a few pills, or maybe a pair of tweezers or something like that, you know, just something really small and thin. This isn't a very thick pocket, so you might not be able to put anything bulky in here, like you know, a big tube of toothpaste or like a deodorant or anything like that. But that's what the inside of the bag is really for. So this is really just for those quick things that you want to be able to grab really fast. And it's just nice that the bag offers kind of a quick access compartment, because it is a little bit more difficult to open up the bag fully because it has this kind of zipper that wraps all the way around. So another big difference between this Dopp Kit and the Aer Dopp Kit is that, as you can see, the Aer Dopp Kit is kind of a top loader, I guess you could say. You know, it stands up on its own and you can just kind of reach in and grab whatever you need. The Bond Dopp Kit, on the other hand, is really interesting in that it actually opens up completely flat, much like a suitcase, which allows you to see everything in the bag at once, and which also matches up really well with the hanging capabilities of the bag. So just looking at the main compartment first, as you can see, it has this zipper that goes all the way around both sides of the bag, which allows you to open it up flat. The bag has YKK zippers, so you know they're really good quality. They are very smooth and easy to open. And as you can see, the bag, you can lay it down flat and easily see both sides of the Dopp Kit. So looking at the main compartment, as you can see, when it's open flat, you can easily see everything that's in both compartments. And this is something that's really beneficial. So as I mentioned earlier, this bag doesn't have quite as much organization as the Aer Dopp Kit. You know, that has a lot of separate compartments to keep items in their own place and to just keep everything very organized. And you know, this bag has some organization, as you can see here on the right, but you know, it's all kind of in one easy to see area, and I really like that I can just kind of see everything at once. And so, you know, this lay flat design is something that works really well in bags. So, you know, for bags such as the GoRuck bags that we've looked at a few times on the channel, you know, they open up flat and it makes it very easy to pack and just to be able to see everything that's in the bag at one time. And so, you know, the bag has kind of is split between these two main sides. And so just here on the left side, it has, as you can see, a mesh pocket. I really like the use of mesh pockets. It just makes it very easy to, you know, see immediately what's in a pocket. So, you know, this is just kind of a larger pocket for your bigger items. So in this compartment, what I've put is a deodorant. I also have a razor. So this is from Harry's. If you guys haven't checked those out, they're really fantastic razors. So definitely recommend taking a look. And what I have here is just kind of a small batch of pomade. So, you know, typically I have a big container, but I don't want to travel with that normally. So I just kind of scoop out a bunch and put it in here to make it easy to travel with. But, you know, I wanted to put a few kind of bulkier items in here to show just how much stuff would fit. I think you could even fit a full-size bottle of, you know, shampoo or body wash as well. So this is just a kind of a big catch-all compartment. On the other side, there is a lot more organization. You know, at the moment, I've kind of crammed this in with about as much stuff, with a lot of extra stuff. I wouldn't normally have all this stuff kind of organized like this, but I just wanted to be able to showcase the different kind of elastic bands and organizational options that Bond has included on this portion of the Dopp Kit. And so what they have here is a lot of kind of these small elastic type bands that you can use for smaller items. So these are pretty tight, they seem like a really good quality, and they're really nice for smaller items such as a small pair of nail clippers. So here in this elastic band, I have a larger pair of nail clippers. And so there's about 8 of these smaller elastic bands, which is probably more than I would need for the type of small items that I carry on a typical basis. Not to mention, as you can see, this is kind of looking very cluttered and disorganized. So I think that if you try to use each of these kind of elastic bands, it could get a little bit cluttered and a little bit difficult to reach these back pockets, which we'll take a look at in a second. But overall, I really like the inclusion of these elastic bands. It's really nice to help kind of keep smaller items in place. If you look at the official website for the site or some of the videos they've done, they've actually put things such as chapsticks in here. On their site, they have tweezers, which I've included here as well, a pair of scissors. You know, I don't think these are very TSA appropriate, so I don't know if I'd actually be able to travel with these. I just kind of put these in here to showcase the bands. I also just have a disposable razor, which you see comes out very easily. And so, you know, these bands are really good. They're not all exactly the same width, so you do have some wider ones if you have bigger items, and some really small ones for, you know, like I mentioned before, the tweezers would hold and something like that. So, you know, just a nice variety, and, you know, really useful for helping to keep these smaller items in their place. And it's also really good that they're pretty tight for holding the items in place when you're actually hanging the bag, so that all this stuff doesn't just spill out. And so besides these kind of little elastic bands that they have here, the company has also included these two larger elastic bands behind the smaller ones. So, if you have bigger items that you want to also just keep organized and in their place, you can use these bigger bands behind the smaller elastic bands. So there's two of those. As you can see here, they separate out pretty much down the middle. So there's two bigger bands, and on one of them, what I just have is my Gillette kind of beard groomer here. This has been a really useful just styler, and it's just really nice and compact to just have with me when I'm on the road. And then, so as you can see here, it's about the width of two of my fingers. I could probably squeeze three. As I mean, this is it stretches out pretty well. So it's just a nice kind of flexible area to put something a little bit bulkier. Then you would be able to fit in one of these compartments. And then here in the other one, I actually just put in a toothbrush with a cover, and then just a travel size shaving cream, just to give a size idea of how wide this compartment actually is. So as you can see, the shaving cream itself is a little bit loose, so if I had to have this by itself, it might slip out, and I might want to put this actually in one of the zippered compartments. But, it fits very comfortably there, and as you saw, I had the toothbrush in it, and that really kept it in its place. So these are just, really nice kind of larger elastic bands that are really useful for keeping some larger items organized. If you want to have them a little bit more accessible than putting them in the zippers and just being able to kind of quick grab them. So overall, really nice. And the best part is that if you don't want to use them, or you don't really have any items that would work well in that position, you can just leave them be, and they don't take up any extra space. So moving on to the last pocket here in the main compartment, it has another kind of bigger mesh compartment here in the back. So as you can see through and just see kind of what items you have sitting behind all of these elastic bands. So this is another good pocket if you have additional bulky items that you can't fit into these elastic bands here, and that maybe don't fit in this other bigger compartment. So the one problem with this compartment that I've seen is that if you have a lot of stuff here, it can be a little bit cumbersome to reach back and unzip this and be able to reach something that's come down here to the bottom when you have all these other items here in the elastic band. So just something to keep in mind when you're organizing the bag. But overall, this is a great pocket. It's nice and big. So as I mentioned, just another good pocket to put bulkier items. So here what I have is just a travel size talcum powder to carry around with me. In addition, I also have a folding comb here, just to save a little bit of space. I really like the versatility of this comb, and that it can fold and it just doesn't take up that much space. But if you wanted to put a full-size comb, that could easily fit in here as well. And then here I also have just some band-aids and some extra contacts. So I don't really, as I mentioned, I don't really travel with that many toiletries for most trips. So this bag probably has more space than what I typically need. Same with the Aer Dopp Kit. I don't typically fill them up to their capacity. I try to keep it pretty minimal as far as toiletries. So this one has more than enough space to hold everything that I need. And overall, I just really love how easy it is to access everything and how organized I was able to keep all my stuff. So the last thing I want to talk about, and probably the thing that most interests me about the bag, is the way that it implements its hanging mechanism. So I've seen a lot of toiletry kits that come with kind of a little metal hook that you can just take in and out of the bag that allows you to hang a toiletry kit from a towel rack. And so I really like when toiletry kits have that ability. But there's two problems that I've typically seen with a lot of other toiletry kits that have tried to implement some sort of hanging functionality. One of them is that the metal band that they include is usually not that wide. So, you're pretty limited in what you can actually hang your bag off of. And then the other problem is that many times what you'll have is toiletry kits that, are more like the Aer Dopp Kit in that, they don't open flat. And so when you hang it, it kind of hangs awkwardly, and it can be very difficult to access what you want. So I really like the combination of this bag being able to open flat, and more importantly, the way that they've included this carabiner here. So what you can do is you can actually attach the carabiner to the handle, and then they've included this little elastic loop here. So you're able to wrap this around a variety of items to be able to hang the bag effectively. So obviously, this is going to work very well on a towel rack, but if the hotel you're staying at doesn't have a towel rack very close to the mirror, for example, and they have something a little bit thicker, this gives you a lot more flexibility in what you can hang it on. is this going to be able to go around something a lot more wide than just a towel rack, as opposed to a lot of the metal hooks that are included on other types of bags such as these. So this is something I hadn't seen on another toiletry kit before, and I really like it because it just gives a lot of flexibility on how you can hang things when you arrive at your destination. And so if you do like to hang your toiletries, as you can see, since the bag opens flat, the way it's hanging, it's very easy to see everything at once and be able to grab it. And it's just really nice that, once again, you're not limited in the thickness of item that you're able to hang your bag from. And so, as I mentioned earlier in the video, the bag itself does include this small orange carabiner. Overall, this is a pretty decent quality, and in general, you're not going to be carrying something so heavy in a toiletry kit, I would think, that would be able to break this carabiner. So it's a decent quality. It's not super fancy. It is a little bit small though. So one thing that I've been kind of thinking of doing is using something like one of these S-shaped carabiners here and replacing the clip with one of these to give myself just a little bit more, distance in the things that I can hang. So, as opposed to, so as you can see here, this is a medium-sized S carabiner. They have a small, medium, and a large. I'll include a link in the description below to the pack that I bought that has kind of 3 different sizes. So if you think you're gonna wanna hang this off a tree branch or something, if you're camping, you might use something like this S carabiner or something, or maybe even the large version of this carabiner, to really give yourself a lot of circumference to be able to hang this off something like a really thick tree branch or something if you're in the forest and you don't have a towel rack or something easier to hang it with. So I really like just, that they included the carabiner, but that it's also really easy to use this system with just about anything. So if you want to get creative and just find different cool ways to use this bag really enables you to do that. So overall, I just really like the way all the different features of this bag are implemented, and I found it really useful in the few trips that I've done with it so far.
So overall, I really enjoyed using the Dash Dopp Kit from Bond. And so I felt the bag was really well made. It seemed to have a really durable material. As I mentioned, I really liked a lot of the unique features that it has to offer. And I just think it's a pretty great deal. Currently, you can find the bag on Bond's website or on Amazon for about $44, which I think is about a fair price compared to a lot of the other Dopp kits that I've used from similar quality brands. So the Aer Dopp Kit that I've been using costs about $45 on Aer's website. So as you can see, they're pretty close. And as far as how the two compare against each other, I really think they're very similar. It really depends on how you like to organize your toiletries as you're traveling. So, this bag is unique in that it opens up flat, kind of clamshell style, so you can see everything at once, and it also has a really cool way to hang it. The Aer Dopp Kit is a little bit more stylish in my opinion, and it just has a little bit more organization and separation if you're a lot more kind of OCD about keeping your items organized. But they're both very similar size, they're great quality, and I think I'll probably end up just alternating between the two as I start traveling now, because most of the time I still think I might prefer the Aer Dopp Kit, but it's really beneficial that this bag is really flexible in how you can hang it, and it's also really nice sometimes to be able to lay the bag open flat. So I really just kind of like both, and at the $44 price point, I do think that's a pretty fair price for this bag considering the quality and the features that it does offer. On Amazon there are tons and tons of toiletry kits. You can get some for $10 to $15, which will probably be just fine for most people. So in that case, this might be a little bit more expensive for people who just want something really simple and more affordable. But if you want something that's a little bit more high quality and that does have some really cool features as well as having a really nice aesthetic, in my opinion, that's really subjective, but as I mentioned earlier, this tactical kind of look just really speaks to me. So as I mentioned earlier in the video, I'll make sure to include a link below to where you can purchase this, as well as links to where you can get the Aer Dopp Kit and the review that I did for the Aer Dopp Kit in the past. So if you're curious to see a more in-depth look at that so that you can better compare between the two bags, hopefully that'll be a little bit helpful. But overall, I really enjoyed using this Dopp Kit. It has a lot of really cool features, it's really durable, and if you guys are looking for a Dopp Kit in the $40 to $45 price range, I definitely recommend you give it a look. If you guys found this review helpful, please go ahead and give us a like below, and if you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos, and thank you guys so much.